1, 2, 3, 4.
For $49.95, you can off. Go home. All right, go on. For $49.95, you can buy this, the E-Ride Pro SS 3.0.
Now, for the past couple of years, E-Ride has just been crushing the lightweight electric dirt bike competition with bikes like the 1.0, the 2.0, and now the SR, which is one of the craziest electric motorcycles I've ever ridden. However, because of bikes like the SR and the Ventus 1 that provide you with enough power to conquer a small country, why would you want to buy something like this, which is slower and only a couple $100 cheaper? Well, to tell you the truth, power is not everything.
Rubbish.
While this bike does not quite compare with the SR or the Ventus 1, this is still one of the best e-motos you can get on the market right now. First off, E-Ride has added a new 72-volt 50-amp-hour battery to this bike, as opposed to the old 72-volt 40-amp-hour battery on the 2.0, which adds up to a total of 3,600 watt-hours as opposed to 2,880 watt-hours on the 2.0. It's also featuring fast-stage suspension, a taller stem mount, a slightly taller seat height for bigger riders, and finally some proper, actually good foot pegs that you won't have to instantly replace when you buy the bike. Other small details include the 19x18 setup, whereas the 2.0 came with a 19x19. You'll also notice that this bike now comes with dual sport tires as opposed to those flaky CTS ones that would wear out after 5 miles of riding. I do not miss those tires at all. And also, most people who bought these bikes didn't ride them off-road anyway. Another cool feature is the new reverse mode on this bike. That was in place of a turbo button that used to be there, which I hated and I never used. I think turbo buttons are stupid. This bike also is featured on the new E-Ride app, which at the moment only works on Apple, and I am an Android freedom fighter, so you Apple communists can have fun with that all you want. One of the best upgrades apart from the battery is the new .4 brakes, which are also featured on the SR as well as this. Now, because of all these upgrades, the bike does weigh a bit more than the 2.0, coming in at 167 pounds, whereas the 2.0 I believe was around 145 to 150 or so. But anyway, let's get to some riding. Let's take it up my first impressions trail, my technical trail, and a few laps around my short circuit, and see if this bike is worth the new $49.95 price tag. All right, sport mode on. That's it. Here we go. Shit. So one thing about these tires, as you can see, they are dual sport tires. So I'm not gonna quite have the same traction that I'm used to on the upside. Actually, it has been raining a bit. Actually, they're not too bad at all. I mean, obviously that back is a lot slideier than normal off-road tires, but I'm actually surprised at the grip I'm getting right now. All right, heading up, uphill. Sweet, not bad. So as you guys remember, last bike I test rode was the Ventus 1, and I said that is my new favorite. And it certainly is, but hopping back on this thing, man, I still love how the E-Rides handle is so good. Even with these tires, still plenty of traction. All right, see if I have the balls to hold it wide open through this turn. Yes. Whew. Oh yeah, the rain ruts. There they are. That's one way to get yourself hurt. Oh, still, man, I absolutely love how these E-Rides handle. Front, oh, gotta be careful. Especially like riding these trails after some recent rain like we just had. Makes it so easy to ride. Well, be careful with that front. You know, after riding the Ventus, truck on my trail. Good thing they're there. Hello. You know, man, what I like about this thing is that it's not as powerful as the Ventus 1 or the SR. Hopping on this thing after riding the Ventus 1 and the SR, it just feels like coming back to an old friend. Yes, it still has lots of power, and I think a lot of people, even beginners to intermediate riders, are gonna have a handful with this thing. But because of how dialed in that throttle mapping is, and how I just understand how much power I'm getting when I'm gonna get it, even with these dual sport tires, man, it's so much fun to ride. As I was trying to say earlier, this bike does have a lot in common with the SR. It has the same brakes, same 1918 setup, same if not similar battery. It does have a little bit less power, coming in at 15.3 kilowatts, which is oddly specific. But it still feels like plenty. Still wheelies super easily, and we'll see what the top speed is in just a sec. All right, let's get a high-speed stability test out the way. Full throttle already. There we go, that's it. Hopping back on this thing after riding the Ventus 1 is nowhere near as scary. So my dash is telling me 65. Not sure what the GPS said, but that was a walk in the park, man. That was easy. Riding this thing after, you know, tackling the SR and the Ventus 1, it feels like going back to a video game that gave you a hard time when you're a kid, whereas now you're an adult, it's just like nothing. That's what riding this bike is like now. Okay, moving on. Let's get to the technical trail. See how we do. Slow down a little bit. Getting a little too comfortable, a little too cocky. Suspension feels great, man. I love the fast stage suspension on this one. On the SR it was a little bit firm, but I think this one feels a bit softer. And because of how lightweight this thing is and how manageable that throttle is, I'm just dancing up this trail. It feels like the Ventus 1. Ventus 1 crushed this thing as well. Because this one feels a little bit bigger, I'm a bit more comfortable to it, a bit more used to it. Ooh, almost off the side there. Death Ridge 1. Oh man. I'm so used to riding in dry dirt, whereas after this rain, all this mud, it's soft and it's moist. Having so much fun with it. Big jump. Another one. Excellent. All right, up next, we all know we got to go back down now. This bike, I think, it's a big rut. Oh, almost got caught out in that rut. This bike is handling this trail beautifully, man. I've had a few comments from people saying that, you know, they want to buy an SR and that they will just detune the bike because they're new riders. And to me, that's kind of like buying a 1000cc and saying you're not going to take it out of third gear, which is that's just a lie. I, as a man, know what I do when I'm alone in a hotel room. Therefore, I know what you'll do if you buy an SR. You're going to put it in race mode and get yourself into a whole lot of trouble. I'd say for intermediate and beginner riders, 3.0 is perfect. Even as someone who's ridden a lot of powerful bikes, taking this thing up the trail and getting to know a nice, refined bike again, I love it, man. I might buy one of these. All right, time for a couple laps. Oh, cased it. Suspension handled it okay. Not too bad. Perfect though, man. This thing is so nice to jump. This is actually the perfect. Oh, I shot the turn. Whoops. That was the back tire not locking up very well. This really is the perfect bike for a track like this. Nice and easy. Whew. Let me know down below if you guys want me to drop the coordinates for this track. I would love to see some more videos of everybody showing up, giving it a go, laying down some times, and go back into turn 1. I really overshot that jump last time. Not gonna do that again. And then I do it again. That was a lot smoother though. Nice, man. You know, man, if I own this thing, I probably wouldn't even take off these tires. I'll probably just get a different set. Because I'm loving how, even in these off-road conditions, it's handling it great. And the best part of all is that you can just go back on the tarmac and it won't be all noisy and annoying. Whew. Beautiful. So much fun, man.
Okay, let's talk some pros and cons of the 3.0. The biggest pro, in my opinion, is how much better this thing is over the 2.0. The brakes, the tires, the suspension, the ride height, all of it makes this bike feel so much better than the 2.0. I even like the extra weight of the bike. It just makes it feel far less of a toy and more of like a proper motorcycle, a proper lightweight motorcycle. The only real cons or drawbacks I could think for the 3.0 would be the fact that it's not fully street legal. Now, I'm sure someone's gonna comment down below that they made their bike, you know, legal in their far off Midwestern state, but in California, I've never seen one of these plated, and that's something I would like to see. Given how good this bike is on the road with the 60-mile-an-hour top speed and its relatively decent range, it would just make so much sense to be a fully street legal moped. Overall, I had a ton of fun with the 3.0. I think it really is one of the best bikes in the class, even though it's not the most powerful. Power really is not everything, but having something like this that does still have plenty of power, it feels very well built, stable, great to ride on road, great to ride off road. It really is, in my opinion, for the price price, the best all-around bike you can pick up. One small disappointment I did have with this bike was the range. I didn't quite crush as many miles as I thought I was going to be able to with a 72 volt 50 amp hour capacity. My range was roughly 20 to 25 miles before I decided to turn around back home, because ultimately you're not going to be running this thing all the way down to zero. It would be nice to see at some point in the future bikes that could comfortably get about 40 to 50 miles of range with some decent riding, but given how quickly these bikes are developing, I think in the next 2 to 3 years we should be seeing that. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it to the end, I'll see you all next time.